Murphy.
I'm Vila Bianca.
This is Skeptic Generation.
And we need to talk.
It is May 30th, 2021. V, how you doing?
I'm doing good. This is our second episode.
It is, and it's a big episode. So this is your first time producing.
First time producing. So anything that gets messed up, it is my fault.
Well, I mean, we've spent a lot of time practicing and all of that, and I'm really, really happy you're doing this. I can feel the nerves emanating. I know that I was doing it last week, but it's going to be great.
Oh yeah, you just press all of the buttons at once. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, cool. You heard it here first. You just press all the buttons at once.
So we do have room for callers. So if you want to call in, now is the time. You can call 585-LaMurph or 585-526-8774. You can call internationally if you go to the link tiny.cc/callsg. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about what you believe and why. That said, we've got a couple of announcements before we dive into calls.
Absolutely.
Our first is, we're so proud of our merch store. It's so cool. Look at that stuff underneath us. If you go to Redbubble, the link is in the description for the video, or you just saying it, tiny.cc/SG merch. If you go there, there is something else for the first time. You can buy the Book of Eric. That's so cheesy. That's so cheesy, but it's super cool.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. We've been promising the Book of Eric for a long time now.
And it's about time that people could get it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Actually, shout out to the Blazing Wizard Pope. Officially the first human being on the planet to own a Book of Eric.
Wow. I also heard that somebody bought a Book of Eric and had it out on like a table at a coffee shop, and a bunch of Christians came over and asked if it was the atheist Bible.
That's amazing.
Which is like, wow. That's exactly what we wanted from that.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. So we're giving away stuff. And
Yes.
we're really, really excited about it. Well, actually, let's just announce our favorite picture from this week.
Yeah.
So if you are at
P-Berg Skeptic has sent us the best photo of hanging up one of our flyers this week.
So we have PM'd you at P-Berg Skeptic. We want to know your shirt size, and what we're going to do is we're going to order it. Actually, can we go back to the main shot?
Oh, sure.
There you go. Okay. We're going to order it. We're going to have it mailed to us. We're going to sign it if you'd like, and then we're personally going to mail it to you. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but we ordered the shirt. We're excited. If you would like the same treatment, please. We want to get the word out there. We want people to know that the show exists. And in order to do that, we're doing this campaign. Go to skepticgeneration.com/launch. Download that flyer, print it out, and post it out publicly. Take a picture of it and tweet it to us at Skeptic Show with hashtag SGFlyer. You do that, and we are going to pick our favorite every week and send you a shirt. So we're stoked about that.
We're also packaging all of the button pins from our first 50 patrons, and then those first 100 people who shared out the first intro promo.
Yep.
So all of yesterday, I was basically just sitting in my bed, just labeling things, writing out
Being
addresses,
amazing.
plugging all that. So there's a lot happening on the back end, and we're super excited about it.
Oh, okay. So we're almost done with announcements. I know it's a lot of announcements, but the next thing is we have a Discord. Shout out and thank you to Best Name Ever for putting together. If you go to tiny.cc/SG Discord, after the show today, we're going to go to the Discord and we're going to talk to people. So if you want to join us in conversation today, go to tiny.cc/SG Discord. And I think that is about it. Oh, one other thing, which is really exciting. I'm going to share about the place. V and I are...
Well, don't jinx it. This is a skeptical show, but you're knocking on the wood right now.
V and I are currently looking for a place. We're come hell or high water, we're going to be moving in the next month.
Yeah.
And we've got our sights on a place. We're going to look at it tomorrow. And hopefully, one of the things that we're looking for most is a big master bedroom so we can convert that into a studio so we can do the show out of it.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed or whatever, just, I don't know.
The thing is, in order to get a place with a big enough master bedroom, we are stretching a little bit for budget. And we're covering all of that up front. It's going to be a little bit of a stretch, but that's fine. The place we're looking at has the most gigantic, beautiful studio space that I'm just
Slash
super
master
excited.
bedroom.
I'm super excited to decorate it and start putting up the paneling.
Hopefully, if we get it, we haven't found out.
True. If you would
But-
like to help us afford a studio, because it would not be a YouTube show without plugging that Patreon, feel free to sign up for Patreon at tiny.cc/donate to SG. We're also in the process of building the studio. A lot of amazing people have already submitted some stuff and bought us some things. The foam that we're currently seeing there, we've got
Yes.
some light boxes. Like it's awesome. We're still building a lot. We want to build a a second computer for a producer.
Yeah, we eventually want to not have to take turns producing the video ourselves, but actually just focus on callers. And so we've got some stuff for a computer. So thank you for the help. I'll actually, on that count, shout out to our incredible crew who pitched in and surprised us. We're going to need to give these mics back soon to my roommate because we're going to move. And they put in together and got us a lav mic. And then it's just, thank you. All right. Are we ready?
I believe we are. Who
All right.
do we want to take?
Let's talk to Rudy. Rudy B, you are not on yet because we got to take you in call-in studio. Give us just a second.
Gotta do all the things.
Rudy, you're live. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. You are coming in hot. Give me 2 seconds.
Ooh,
To
Hey.
hear from you.
it's awesome to hear from you too. How are you guys?
We are good. We're like just flying by the seat of our pants trying to do this. It is so good to hear you. So for people who don't know Rudy, Rudy, who are you?
I am Rudy B, also known as X-Cult Baby.
Mm-hmm.
I am a brand new host of Talk Heathen.
I've heard of that show.
Long before that, Friends of Eric and B.
Absolutely. Rudy, we're so excited to see you on Talk Heathen.
Oh my goodness, it's the best.
We are so rooting for you. And you know that if at any point, we can help with anything, please let us know. We love you. And we're so proud of you. Like, that's so cool.
Well, I'm proud of you guys too, going out and doing your own thing, and you really are flying by the seat of your pants, but you're making it work, and that's awesome.
I'm surprised we're doing it. Like, I'm surprised that it's happening, but I'm really, really excited about it. So, are you hosting today?
I'm not hosting today.
When do we get to see you next?
See, here's the problem is that I don't even check my work schedule
Oh.
calendar until like the day before I'm supposed to go in,
Hey,
which is
respect.
a problem. But
That's okay.
yeah, the next time I'm hosting Talk Heathen will actually be June 6th.
All
All
right.
right.
That's pretty exciting. So next week, I'll
Next
be
week?
Yeah.
hosting Talk Heathen.
We'll be tuning in to watch.
Beautiful.
Rudy, we love you. And it's so cool that you're doing what you're doing. Best of luck.
Thank you. And before I go, I have a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
As
Go for it.
a new host of an old show that y'all have been on,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any advice for me?
Oh, good question.
Do you want to go first or I'll take it?
Sure. I would say, and this is something I'm doing currently, and expect to continue to do for as long as I'm doing a show of any kind. there are the standard responses to a lot of questions, and they get to be rote after a while, right? You start realizing like, oh, well, I know the answer to look at the trees and it's this, and I know the answer to the Kalam argument and it's this. And so you start reciting them as opposed to actually listening to the caller and where they're coming from. And that can usually result in a lot of jumping over the caller and making for just a less interesting show. So something that I always try to do is make sure that I'm not talking in terms of just reciting what I know the answer should be, but really trying to pretend like this is the first time I've heard it and come at it with that fresh set of eyes.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is definitely something that I did for a long time, and still need to make sure that I check myself in doing that. I'll find that comfortable place and wind up naturally trying to move the conversation into what I want to talk about. You're right. Mm-hmm. I've got one other. Rudy, be true to you. I mean, as a host, you are unique and amazing. This is coming from people who know you. The flavor that you're going to bring to whatever you do is fantastic. And just don't be afraid to make it yours and make it something that, you feel good about representing. And so, so long as you're, embracing your voice and not trying to necessarily imitate somebody else's, I think that the flavor that you bring is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
That's such a classic, big-hearted Eric response.
Well, I mean, that's why we want to tune in to see you, because it's you.
Well, I hope other people tune in to see me. A lot of people have said, that you guys really made the show. And while I, to some degree, agree with that in that, you guys bring your own thing to the table, I hope that I can also bring something to the table that people will enjoy. And, of course, if people want to see what you two bring to the table, they can see it right here on Skeptic Generation.
That's right. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, Rudy. Well, we're going to get back to having a heart attack. But thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks for having me. Love you guys. Good luck.
Love you
You
too.
too. All right.
I'm so happy about that. I remember I met Rudy at Faithless Forum 2 years ago, and just over the last 2 years, getting to know them and then becoming friends. Over quarantine, we've really kind of our group of friends and all of it. It's really, really shrunk, and it's really nice to have Rudy in that group.
It's deepened.
Yes.
I don't want to say shrunk. It has gone vertical.
Less horizontal. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Next, let's talk to another friend of the show, friend of ours,
Yay.
John Steingard. John.
Amazing.
You're live.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, John. Welcome to the show.
How's it going? This call screening system is rad. I
Yeah.
was just listening in, and I was like, oh, obviously I'm a noob for calling in. Oh, this is legit, guys.
We're trying. Glad you think so.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun, and it's really, really nice of you to call in, man. Actually, in the show notes, it says you've got a question for us.
I do.
What?
I do. I was thinking about what we could talk about for a second, and one of the things I've been thinking about a bunch recently that I thought you could weigh in on is the idea of motivated reasoning. So, sort of plumbing your own biases and wondering, what things do I want to be true, and how is that influencing the way that I reason and what I'm determining what is true? Do you guys have any advice for me and for the audience on, how you think about your own biases and the things that you want to be true, and how that might affect your reasoning as you're sort of working things out in as objective a way as you can? How do you guys manage that?
Oh, poorly. So for me, I think in that category, what I find most often is I'm doing it and not realizing it. And
Oh Yeah, that's all of us.
Yeah, and just trying to be mindful that I'm likely doing it at any given point when I'm trying to evaluate a situation means that I at least get the chance to step back and investigate that. Because my goodness, it applies everywhere. Like let's say, we're talking about the God question, and
Yep.
we've pulled ourselves away from it, and we've deconstructed and all of that. Fantastic. That doesn't mean you're going to do it when it comes to dieting, or
Sure.
finding, or finding love, or the way you interact with your friends, or your personal, your interpersonal monologue, the way you view the world, the way you view specific people groups, every one of those things is its own entire category that you find yourself motivated in, when it comes to your reasoning for it. And so it's exhausting, but just remember that, yeah, you're likely doing it right now, in any situation.
Yeah. For me, that's like it's sort of a source of empathy for me, because I go, oh, okay, like there are ways in which each of us have developed ways in the world, and in a lot of situations, like the way that we have come to see the world is part of like kind of how we hold ourselves together. And so we're very motivated not to have some of our fundamental assumptions challenged, right? And so, like, our tendency, I mean, this is everybody across the board, is to defend our existing presuppositions.
Yeah.
And because they're not just external ideas, they're like central to how we see the world and how we live our lives. And so
Absolutely.
I just think about that because, like, I have very smart friends that don't believe in God and very smart friends that do. And the question's worth asking, like, how is that? Exactly.
Well, I think that kind of touches on something that I'm trying to discover and unpack a little bit more myself, which is this concept, it's kind of a glib thing that I've been saying, I know, which is you can't choose what you believe. Right. And to an extent that is true. Once you are convinced of something or you find something not convincing, that's kind of it. But what you do to get to the point of becoming convinced or avoid being unconvinced is a choice. Yeah. So I think that a lot of it's easy to just go, oh, well, I don't have a choice in this, therefore I can't hold this person responsible for what they believe, or I can't be blamed for my beliefs one way or the other. There is an element of choice there, and motivation plays a big part in that. Are you doing unbiased research, right? Are you listening to other voices? Are you going beyond your comfort zone? Those are choices that inevitably will impact your belief system.
Yeah.
Great point. Like for me, it's like, am I consuming, because I've been through a couple of years of going from being a believer to being a non-believer, and I've had to consciously be like, okay, am I only reading things that point in one direction, or am I exploring like a bunch of different perspectives? Am I reading contradictory views to see which one I find more persuasive? What am I exposing myself to?
Yeah.
And am I just jumping down a rabbit hole and only examining things in that rabbit hole?
Right, or only examining other perspectives through a specific lens, right? Like, it's very easy for me to think,
Correct.
Oh, I get the Christian perspective because I listen to other atheists talk about the Christian perspective. But that still is a lens through which I'm looking at things. So making sure you're getting those primary sources and actually digging into other people's worldviews, I think, is huge.
Yeah, and on that point, one of the things that I found helpful is like, the realization that evangelicalism does not speak for all of Christianity. And so there's certain things that are in play in evangelicalism that in North America, it can be very easy to feel like that's what Christianity is. And as it turns out, the vast majority of Christians that have ever lived have not been evangelicals. They've been Catholic or, Eastern Orthodox. And so there's a plurality of views there, and it's worth exploring multiple different perspectives, even within a faith that maybe you don't hold.
Oh yeah, when I first got out of the Christian worldview, I guess, and was kind of in that angry atheist phase around like 2018, I would just use the blanket term Christians to describe evangelicals, essentially. Like if I had an issue with evangelicalism, I would be like, Christians always do this. And it took a lot of very patient people, both atheists who had done more research than me and Christians that I know and appreciate because of their more progressive and informed viewpoints, to be like, hey, maybe be explicit in where you're pointing your finger, because not everybody holds those opinions.
Super good point. Good point. Well, I'm stoked for you guys and excited for your show. And anytime anyone takes, I mean, this is my maybe latent Christianity talking, but like a quote unquote leap of faith, right? To like go and try something new and do something creative and take a risk. That is always something I want to celebrate, and so I'm celebrating with you guys, and congrats on this new show.
Thank you so much for calling it.
We celebrate you too, man. In fact, before we let you go, can we plug you?
Where can people find you?
Can you tell people, what you do and who you are?
So I mean, as some of your audience might have heard, if you grew up in Christianity, I was in a band called Hawk Nelson for 15 years, and then sort of privately first, and then publicly sort of began questioning my faith. And that was about a year ago, and then about 6 months ago, I started a YouTube show and podcast called The Wonder and the Mystery of Being that sort of explores this gray area between belief and unbelief, and questions and doubts and faith, and kind of all kinds of things in that little niche space in between. And V, you've been on my show, and
I have.
And Eric, and so we'll have to connect more in the future. But for anyone who is listening or watching, that's kind of what I do online these days, is the wonder and the mystery of being.
Wonderful.
That's wonderful. We love watching your dialogues, and it's awesome knowing you, man. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good luck.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
He's fun.
He's awesome. We actually went on a virtual double date with John and his wife.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that she calls in too, because she has an amazing story. And
definitely. If
she would be comfortable sharing, I would love to hear from her too. But yeah, they're awesome.
They are.
Awesome people.
People we got to, this is so cool that we do this, that we're getting to meet these people. It's just fun.
I remember the first time that I became aware, because I don't think I ever listened to Hawk Nelson as an evangelical. Sorry, John. But the first time that I started hearing from him was while he was beginning his coming out process publicly, and was on, I believe, Seth Andrews' show first. So I listened to that. And then he actually did a debate with Frank Turek. And I was just like, okay, this person knows their stuff. Like they're getting into the philosophy of it, and they're like learning all of those like questions around morality and epistemology and all that stuff. I've just been geeking out watching his journey so far, so I'm happy that we're friends.
Yeah, I had another point about kind of personal narratives and motivated reasoning. And I would love the opportunity at another point to bring it up, but I feel like that train has left the station. So I think maybe we'll pick it up another time.
Absolutely. Maybe in the Discord after the show.
Ooh, that's right. If people want to join us right after the show, we're going to be heading over to our Discord. If you want to talk to us after the show, go to tiny.cc/sgdiscord. Also, we have a couple of callers on the line, but we'd love to have some more, especially if you are our vegan friend from last week.
Justin,
please call in, Justin. We want to talk to you. But in the meantime, can we please talk to Dean?
Absolutely.
I love Dean.
Talk to Dean.
Dean!
Oh, gotta get him on the line first.
Oh.
Dean!
Dean! You're live with Eric and V.
Let's go!
Hey.
How's it going, brother?
Man, it is great to finally call in. I haven't called in on the show in forever, so I missed last week because I was traveling to Virginia, but here we are. So two things really. One, super proud of you guys. Super happy for you guys that on this new adventure. It's going to do great because you guys are great.
Aw, and this.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to, tune in every week and call in every now and then. So
Absolutely.
that's awesome.
I'm glad. For people who don't know Dean, Dean is an apologist, someone on the other side of the aisle, and it's living proof that you don't need to actually be angry and vitriolic in order to have these discussions. Dean, before COVID, you actually came and you stayed at my place while you did a seminar on apologetics.
There's a whole story behind how we even got to your apartment. That would take up too much time.
Yeah,
but maybe we'll rehash that at some point.
it was amazing, and just, I mean, you are on the other side of the argument, and we're both total geeks. We are all total geeks about this specific topic. And so I remember you came and you had to get up early the next morning, and you're like, okay, I've got to get to sleep. And so you and I stayed up all night arguing apologetics.
Because, and Eric might not remember this, but Eric didn't know that I was a pretty big fan of William Lane Craig, and Eric made a comment about William Lane Craig, and I just looked at him and said, okay, so we're just going to do this now, huh? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we just sat down and we just started talking. And before I know it, we're in, the studio recording. And I look at my watch and I'm like, I've got to be over at the church building at 9 and it's 4:30.
Yep.
So, but no, that was fun. That was one of the more awesome trips that I've actually ever had, because when you tell the story to fellow Christians, sometimes, depending on their background, when I came back from that, there was an older lady that asked me how my trip went. I said it went great. And she was asking, like, where'd you stay? And I was like, oh, I stayed at an atheist house. And she's like, what?
Atheist YouTuber's house,
I stayed at an atheist house. And she was pretty taken aback by that. But, I explained to her how everything, went, and that, atheists aren't rabid.
No.
I have a cousin who's an atheist. I've known him all my life. The vast majority of atheists are nice, decent people that I just happen to have disagreements with.
Agreed. I would say that the jerks probably are, at about the same rate as everybody else, because we're just like everybody else.
Right.
It's, go ahead, B.
Oh, I was just going to ask, Dean, we've got some pretty interesting comments in the notes here. I'm seeing the words moral skeptic, and I'm very curious what you mean by that.
Okay, so here's my question.
Sure.
So obviously, you would have to be a skeptic in order to name your show Skeptic Generation, right? So I guess for the audience who doesn't know what does it mean to be skeptical, and then my question is, how far do you take that skepticism with regards to morality? Because there's this section there's this theory, I guess you could say, in ethics called moral skepticism, which says that moral knowledge cannot even be known and it can't be accessed. And so when you talk about being skeptics, is it just with regards to like the God claim, or do you take it a step further and say, moral knowledge can't be known and nobody can access it?
That's a really interesting question.
It is.
What I would say is that I'm definitely a skeptic about more than just the God claim. I think if I wasn't, then this would probably be called atheist something or other, but I do use skepticism in my everyday life to talk about other things as well. As far as moral skepticism, the asterisk I would put here is that as a philosophy, I don't 100% align with skepticism. Skepticism as a philosophical discipline goes farther than I would. And I think that's the same for moral skepticism, where you cannot know at all, because to me, morality is what we determine it to be, and therefore we can know it. It's not this external thing that we're trying to access. It is an agreement that people make amongst each other and then uphold or not. So I would probably, in a colloquial sense, call myself a moral skeptic, but from the philosophical point you're trying to make, probably not go that far.
Yeah. So I want to take just a step back really quick, because for people who don't have a good idea of what skepticism is, or in practice skepticism,
Good call.
It's constantly asking yourself why. Dean, you've got young kids. At what age do they start saying why to everything?
When they're able to start talking.
And unfortunately,
well, I have a 5-year-old who's really to be maybe more accurate. I have a 5-year-old who has started asking questions of why does she need to clean her room, and why why aren't grandpa and grandma coming down this weekend or whatever. So 5 is
5 is the big Y age.
well, what is probably good for a lot of parents and bad for society is eventually we stop asking why to a lot of things, because I think society culturally, we are conditioned to eventually act like we already know the answers. And so asking that question just kind of diminishes. And so when I look at skepticism, I'm asking why. Why is this the way that it is? And that goes back to, skepticism at its origins. Its purpose was to kind of shake you at your core and recognize that at deep down, way at the bottom of everything, I don't know. Why does light behave the way it does? We can study and study and study, but you get enough whys in there and it's I don't know. And it's scary, but at the same time, very exciting, because it gives us the opportunity to go, hey, we don't know this thing. Let's learn more. Let's explore it. And so when it comes to skepticism, it is an incredible tool. And I think that skepticism should be used everywhere in your life. That said, if you walk around saying, well, there's no way that I can know how much money is in my bank account, you're going to run into some problems. And so make sure that you're using it as a tool, especially to disrupt, to go back to John's question, so that you can disrupt that motivated reasoning or preconceptions that you're bringing to the table that might be influencing your result. Just asking why. And so when it comes to morality, I loved V's answer. I would say it a little bit differently. I'd actually say that it's a category error. Because when you're talking about something existing, right, this is a preconception that morals and morality exist outside of us as some, thing that's not decided on by us. And often it's framed in, well, okay, so we arbitrarily make these moral rules, so there's nothing ultimately, moral. But okay, what does ultimate mean? Well, it's implying that it's outside of us, that there's a God that's giving moral commandments. But then, okay, isn't it just that God's opinion? Then I don't think you can get to that solid, extrinsic moral judgment. And so what we find is it's not can we be moral? It's we are moral. Why?
Right.
Yeah.
I would agree with let's see here, 15% of what you said. namely that we are moral and why. But no, I think that's a good analysis of the difference between, or the degree to which you both individually couch, skepticism. And I think one of the things that a theist would ask about skepticism that maybe you could answer would be, is what is the difference between skepticism being a tool and I guess skepticism being like a worldview.
Could we reframe it? Would it be similar if I said using skepticism
Sure.
as a tool and using skepticism as a cudgel?
As a what?
As a cudgel? Something to bash people over the head with?
Right. Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Because as a worldview, I don't think it makes sense. When I think of worldviews, I'm thinking of a lot of really complex things, and skepticism is just one part. So I think that there are a lot of people who misuse skepticism and say, oh, well, I'm, skeptical of climate change. Well, actually, we ask why so that we can learn and grow and discover and do as much as we can. The why continues, just the questions change, right? Why, what is our impact on the environment? Okay, why is the world getting warmer? Okay, what impact does that have? Those are all why questions. And so as we're learning it now, we're asking other questions. Okay, how can we stop it? What's the long-term repercussions? But there are some people who stand back and will not look at the evidence and ask new whys, but say, well, I don't accept that. I'm just going to keep asking why. And so it can be tough. And I think that I really don't want to let bad actors take the word. So we're going to say skepticism, and we're going to make sure that we draw the line between ourselves as skeptics and people who are, skeptical of COVID. Is it really a thing, or is it just a government hoax?
Right. There's actually a good.
Got vaxxed yesterday, by the way.
Congratulations! Nice.
Yay! Wonderful. There's actually an
My arm
article
feels like I
that
got
we.
hit by a baseball bat.
Oh.
But anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. There's actually an article on our website blog, skepticgenerationanswers.com, that talks about good and bad skepticism, and it teases apart that contrast between skepticism that is used by people pushing conspiracy theories versus skepticism that we're talking about. And as far as I think what I understand you asking, Dean, is why do we use skepticism in one way? It's kind of like the atheist question, right? Like, why do you use skepticism in this way when the Stanford Philosophical Dictionary uses it in this way? And I think that one thing to keep in mind is that philosophy is really fun, but one thing that philosophers like to do is push things to their boundary, right? And push things and have this one worldview that is true across the board and is pure and is the answer to all questions in that area. And that's not how life really works. That's not how people really interact. So it's really difficult to be quote unquote like philosophically pure about really any position, because eventually you get up to a point of absurdity. And that's why it's fun to talk about. But for the average person, what you have to do is you have to pick and choose, and you don't have to align with just one thing. You can say, hey, this works for me up until a point, and then I'm going to maybe shift into a more pragmatic viewpoint, but that whole thing can actually interplay really well. It doesn't have to be just one ideology down the line.
So you could essentially be like a Christian skeptic, right?
Oh, yeah.
I could have the worldview of Christianity, but skepticism is a
tool.
Is one of the many tools that I can use to help either support my worldview, call into question my worldview, or just abandon my worldview. Right.
Yeah.
And the hope is that you're doing it for good reasons, right? The hope is that you're wanting the best out of what you understand about the world around you. So yeah, we were just telling John Steingard, that you can be a skeptic in one area, but that doesn't mean that you're a skeptic in other places. And
in all areas. Right?
Yeah, and so it takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of work, and you're constantly needing to remember that, you're bringing things to the table you don't realize, and it's motivating the way that you're examining things. But hopefully that helps. This was a really good call, Dean.
And it's been way too long since we've talked, and the next time I get out to Austin, we've got to hang out, and Eric, you and I've got to, or all three of us can sit at the table and have a chat for recording. And am I allowed to plug next February?
I was just about to ask you if you would. This is our show. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Hey, everybody.
Yeah,
announcement.
That's right.
If you're doing dishes or in the car, whatever the case, listening to the show right now, big announcement. Dean, go for it.
In February of next year at The Ohio State University, Eric Murphy and I will be doing a debate on does the Christian God exist?
That's right.
Yep. I'm going to have to go back to Columbus.
We're excited about it. I'm really excited about it. And I'm
No, I'll tell you a real quick story. Eric. You might not know about this, but I started working on my opening statement like 2 days after we had finalized what was going on, and I sent the title opening does the Christian God exist opening statement, and it was a blank page, and I sent a screenshot to V on Messenger, and she just replied, good luck. And I was like, I love it.
Good luck, man.
It was great. So all right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and let other people get on the line.
Sounds good.
I miss you guys dearly. I love you guys dearly, and I can't wait to the next time that we cross paths.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Take care, brother.
Bye, Dean.
All right.
Bye. Oh, okay. We got to talk to Neil. I've been wanting to talk. Neil was on the line last week, and we ran out of time, and I feel so bad. Let's grab Neil. Neil, the 604 atheist.
Neil.
How's it going?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Oh, not very much. Just having a lazy Sunday.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Lazy? What? You guys are doing your show. W's that lazy? Well, mind you get to sit there and talk to people.
Oh,
yes.
we're hustling.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you don't have to remind me of how much work this can be.
Oof.
But I just wanted to phone in and say congrats on starting up your own show. You guys listened last week and most of this one, mostly on the phone, of course. But still, it's great. It's awesome that you guys are doing this.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, man. I of course, if you're on here, we want to plug you. Neil, Neil, the 604 atheist. For people who want to find you, Neil, what do you do on your channel?
Well, I talk to people about the different reasons they left whatever faith systems they were a part of.
Yeah, and if people
from religion or some sort of new agey stuff like guru-y woo-woo stuff, and you name it, man. I've spoken to tons and tons of people. I've actually my producer at last count said we did 315 episodes, and that's just the deconversion story. Not even that.
Wow.
You could almost watch Neil the 604 Atheist episode every day of the year.
Yeah.
Challenge, you guys.
Pretty much.
604 challenge.
Neil, actually, and you've had both of us on, so if people want to know more about our backstories and why we left the faith, go to Neil's channel, and you can look us up and you can find it.
Yeah. Neil, before you go, I would love to ask you a question.
Oh, sure.
What does being a skeptic mean to you? Like, how do you interpret being a skeptic?
I think for most of the day-to-day stuff, you don't really have to apply that hat because it's pretty mundane stuff. Like, hey, guess what? I had a Big Mac for lunch last week. Well, how do you prove that? Well, you can't, but I'll just take someone's word for it. But I think in general, when people come up with extraordinary claims, that's when you throw on the skeptic hat and you say, hey, well, tell me more about this. Let's figure this out kind of thing, right?
Absolutely. I love it.
Right. So,
Neil,
I'm skeptical of claims that seem, out of this world type thing. So,
which is good. Yeah. If it trips the meter, it's a good idea to step back and check it out.
Keep an eye on those little red flags.
Yeah.
Neil, I just, from people who know you, Neil, dude, you are an exemplar of what it means to be an empathetic, giving, kind, atheist skeptic. And I'm so happy that I get to be in the same community as you. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Well, feelings mutual. Yeah, both of you guys have become quite good friends to me. So the feeling is very much mutual.
Yay! We're going to have to get you on an episode of Hot Seat at some point.
Yeah, and...
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be on at some point soon, right?
Do you guys want to?
Ooh,
guys
Neil,
wanna
how do you?
face off?
How's your taste for spicy?
Oh, you're.
Well,
It's nice knowing you.
Oh no.
I have a couple of hot sauces in the house right now that were shipped to me from a fan from Australia, and one of them's called Shit the Bed. So,
Do I have to?
it's pretty tasty stuff.
Okay.
Well, we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch.
Take care, buddy.
You too, guys. Have a great show.
Will do. Okay. If people have seen Hot Ones, well, did you want to tell them what it is?
Yeah, so I watch Hot Ones every single time an episode comes out. I've loved it for years. And I was always like, I'm never going to be on Hot Ones. That's okay. That's fine. I'm okay with this lot in life. And then Ethan Michael contacted me and was like, hey, V, do you want to do like a Hot Ones style thing? And I was like, yes, I do. So I host the Hot Seat on Your Friendly Neighborhood Atheist channel. We've only done one episode so far, and that's with current Talk Heathen host Kenneth Leonard and Shannon Q from AXP. So they faced off, and it was hysterical. It was one of the funniest things I have ever been a part of.
It was really, really
in
fun
my
to watch.
life. So we're currently looking for whoever is next to face off, and a new episode will probably be out next month.
And I know I'm on the docket. So if you're going to be pairing me up against someone who's really, really, that's fair. Yeah, if you want to see me sweat and cry, V, you have
comments.
carte blanche to pit me up against whoever you'd like.
In the comments below this video,
Please not R and Raw.
who do you think
Please
Eric
not.
should go up against? All right. We
Okay.
have a couple people. We've got Justin back from last week.
Yes. In fact, I think we may need to take the other callers off. Oh, we've got a bunch of them. Yeah. Holy moly.
Yeah, we've got
We
a
don't-
whole bunch of people now.
Okay. Well, we've got time, right?
Yeah, we've got another
45
hour.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Justin,
Hold on one second.
we're
entering
technical
you into the
issues.
database.
yes. Let's get you up here.
All right. Justin,
You're live with Eric and V.
welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm back.
You are.
Thank you for
Thank you
calling.
for calling back in.
Well, so I was going to call, like you said, around the beginning of the show, but trying to put the pool up, and we ran into some difficulties, so I was trying to do that this morning, but I'm here.
That's understandable.
So I got to go back and hear the beginning. I sent in my little audio thing. I don't know if it made it into the
You
intro.
did.
But,
Yes. We
so
haven't put
cheesy.
it together yet, but if you guys are interested, today is officially the cutoff. So everybody who has
Gotcha.
sent in a cheer to participate in the applause track that we're going to be putting together have sent it in. We've got about 15 different people who sent that in, so I'm super excited to layer those up and make that sound really pretty.
The more the merrier, and it's nice. We miss it. We miss having a group cheering for us at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, and we want to include you guys too.
Yeah.
Because this is all you. All right, Justin, what can we help you with today?
So, all right. So this has been kind of building. Obviously, there's been some comments on the YouTube thing. Like, I love the person who said cow is my favorite food. That's pretty funny. Okay, so first of all, I want to say that I am not coming from a place of judgment at all. And in fact, I hate the whole, like, you were never a this or you were never a that. So you hear the whole, if you ate a vegan diet, let's just say that. If you used to do that and then you quit for some time, you must have never truly been vegan. I don't know about all that, but I will say that I ate a vegan diet for 2 years in the past, and I stopped after some time. But when I stopped, it never really felt good eating meat ever again. Like, it was always something that I just kind of did, and I didn't really like it. And I guess maybe that's kind of how I've always been to an extent. The more far removed from actually being meat that it is, the easier it would be to do. For example, like a Zaxby's chicken finger doesn't really affect you too much because it doesn't look like a chicken, but if I was to eat bone-in chicken wings, then that was kind of weird for me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, but I wanted to say, I say all that to say that I want to have a discussion. I know you guys talked to Drew last week, and I don't know if he's vegan or not, genetically modified skeptic. I think he is.
Yeah.
And he makes a good point about humanism versus sentientism, which is such a strange word, and I hate it, but it's the best thing we currently have. And I don't know that there's any argument against it that makes any good sense. And this is, like I said, I can't stress it enough, because I know everybody hates vegans, and I just want to say,
no, not everybody
as
hates
somebody
vegans.
who's currently exploring it for myself again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any way that I can look at the facts and just continue to ignore it. And I just wondered what you guys thought about that as far as the morality of it.
Yeah.
I have so many thoughts. V, you want to go first? Because I could just wax poetic about this.
This is going to be a very well viewed clip. So thank you in advance, Justin.
Sure,
so for
no
me,
problem.
first of all, I've got lots of vegan friends.
Oh, no. Oh, that is not a good way to start, V.
No, I do want to stress though, most of the people in our quarantine friend group at this point are vegetarian or vegan. And honestly, the best argument I can make for not being vegan is if you're in a situation like I am, all you need to do to put dibs on food you don't want to share is to get something with meat on it, and then nobody else touches it.
Actually, yeah, that's been the strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you in a big way. I have started not enjoying eating meat as much. I tend to go towards vegetables, honestly, when I make them myself. When it's in a can or frozen, it's not great. But if I can get a nice sear on some Brussels sprouts, I'd pick that probably 8 times out of 10. But sure. I'm not all the way there yet. And I've listened to the arguments and I've done thinking about it. And I don't know. I'm open to it, I guess. It hasn't landed for me. So maybe I just haven't heard the right argument for me yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
As far as
I just,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Eric. Sorry.
Oh, no. I want you to respond to V, and then I can give you what I wanted to say. Go for it.
Well, okay. So so atheism is not really a worldview, so that's not really fair to say. But I was just going to say, I think let's say this: an atheist humanist is only, to me, morally, a few steps away from being a vegan. And the reason is, well, you might say, what does it have to do with atheism? And I would say, I told you that my mom passed, but back when she was still here, back when I used to be militant. I was like, watch this documentary called Earthlings, and you won't believe what they do to the animals and this and that. And dairy's even worse than meat because of this and that. And so they were kind of like, well, God put these animals on. You've heard that. I'm sure you've heard the God put them here for us to eat argument. Mm-hmm. And just the other day at my day job, because I'm a writer, but on the I have a day job, and my boss was like, there was a baby rat of all things that appeared hurt. It had fallen out of a crate, and I don't really care about rats too much, but it was cute, and it had its eyes all closed, and it was squeaking, and I was like, what are we gonna do? And my boss said, chuck it in the field, it's a stupid rat. And I said, well, that's not very compassionate. It's a rat, but and he says, oh, well, we're separated from animals because back during the fall and back in Garden of Eden and this and that.
Wait, that was his
that
reasoning?
argument.
No! Oh, that's terrible.
Man.
Yeah. And it was South Alabama, and I work for a family company.
That's fair.
And
that's fair.
They put their prerogative on everybody. They think we all believe the same thing. But anyway, it's not to say that they're tied because this person said that. It's just to say that there are a lot of people who really, truly believe that, God made animals for us to eat. And my thing is, if he did, well, first of all, I don't think there is any he to begin with, but let's say he's real and he did, it's even more of a reason for me to think he's a monster because of the fact that, if they were here for us to eat, then why do they experience the same pain and suffering that we do?
That's fair. I think that it's definitely an interesting track to take, and during a deconstruction period where you're kind of sitting and questioning everything, not just your religion, it does make sense to question that as well. And I respect the people who go down that path and are like, oh, I see these things as connected, and if I'm getting rid of one, I can't uphold the other without that cognitive dissonance. And I'm all about eliminating cognitive dissonance. I also, though, think that that is still kind of a little bit of a Western perspective, because there are so many other religions, both, you know, some of the big ones, and then also like smaller, you know, tribal kind of religions where, you know, eating meat is also included and sometimes even like a valuable thing to them. So I would push back a little bit on the idea that it's linked in any way specifically to Christianity, but I also fully respect that if you were a Christian and you deconverted and you saw that those as linked, that makes sense to draw that line.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like you mentioned, go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I was going to give you another
there's that weird delay.
Yeah, no worries. I was going to give another take.
Yeah, go for it.
And so when it comes to me deconstructing, you know, me eating meat and all of that, it has a couple of parallels, but I guess the first is when I started looking into it, you know, you look into why do we eat meat? And we can go back into our past and into the evolution of humans and find that, you know, cooking and eating meat was a great way for us to get the calories required. We actually evolved towards that end. And so we're more stuck in eating meat now than, you know, our progenitors, because, you know, that it was a big reason to why we wound up the way that we are. That is a bad argument against being a vegan, though, because now, you know, especially here, you know, where we live, we do have ready access to being able to eat, you know, without having to eat meat for nutrition. And so, okay, so what do I do with that? Well, it strikes the same chord as it does with being poly. Can I talk about that? Is that okay?
Absolutely, it's our show.
Yeah. So V and I are poly. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I wrestled with for a really, 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 really long time.
Oh, me too.
And
for
I was
a very
not,
long time, I was like, nope.
Yeah, but if somebody were to say, hey, you know, how do you feel about being poly? My thought was, well, you know, if I love somebody very, very much and, you know, I want them to be happy and I think that we only live one life, why would I be the only why would I want to be the only person that person ever had sex with? Like,
sure,
you get one life. Why would I want to lock that person down for the rest of theirs? Or just the idea of falling in love, you know, why would I want to prevent that? But at the same time, what do I need to go through to get there? What steps do I need to take to be comfortable with that? You know, and for the longest time, I just thought, you know what, I've got nothing against it, but I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could handle it. And then V and I did that, are doing that, and so far so good.
We say in quarantine, having not seen other people for 14 months.
Yeah.
We will see.
Fair. You know, similarly, I look at veganism and I go, hey, you know, can I imagine a future hundreds of years from now where people look back and went, could you believe that they eat meat? Those monsters? You know, I could imagine society moving in that direction.
Absolutely.
A lot of people compare it to slavery and say that, you know, like, what would the farmers do? And it's kind of like saying, what did the slave owners do? At the same
time, though, I also view animals differently. I don't view animals the same way I view people. When we talk about rights, you know, I don't think animals have rights. I think animals have protections.
Can I ask why not?
Sure, I think animals have protections.
This is. I just want to preface this by saying this is where it's going to start getting a little. But it's all in respect because I love you guys.
Dude.
But I want to question you.
Respect the person.
You guys would question a Christian.
Yeah, respect the person. Don't necessarily respect the ideas. That's fantastic,
so
and we won't take offense.
Why do you believe that animals don't have the same rights?
Absolutely. So if two wild animals in a preserve. One killed the other and ate them, I don't think that the murderer should be put on trial.
Sure.
That's a difference.
But
there are lots of animals that kill for fun. You know, not just to survive.
Yeah.
There's a difference there. We call those protections, and that actually, you know, a lot of that comes from, at least for me, a biblical view. You know, it rings a lot of those Christian bells from when we were also told that we were stewards of the land. And there's that stewardship view. And so I'm seeing, my own indoctrination influencing the way that I'm viewing things. And I've really got to work on deconstructing that. But at the same time, I'm not willing to grant that we treat animals the same way we treat humans, at least not in every circumstance. The example that I gave you is one of them. I think that consciousness, right? I don't think that we have some kind of free will. I think we're meat robots. So we're definitely not the same. So we're definitely the same as animals when it comes to that. But drawing those distinctions, I think, is going to take a lot of time and reflection on my part to figure out where I am there. In the meantime, it's really not helping when people at me on Twitter calling me a monster for not being there right now.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah. That said, though, it is going to take time, and I'm not necessarily going to come to the same conclusion. It might be some mix therein where I go, okay, I might wind up being vegan or vegetarian, but still not agree with you on everything. Or, I might feel the same way you do morally and find a way to still be cool with eating meat, at which point you should definitely call. But it's
like cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, but it's complex and it's messy, and it's something that I wish I could give you more of. I wish that I could say, Justin, I have figured this out, and here it is, and I'm stoked and I'm ready to defend it. The fact is, I feel like if there aren't enough people like V and I saying, hey, we don't have all of this worked out, then how are people going to know that they're not alone? It's the same with the God question. There are so many of us who had to deconvert by ourselves and felt like we were the only ones in the world. And you know what? It's a process. And so that is a process. And maybe this isn't the cause du jour for you. Maybe you have other things that you're working on, other kinds of activism that are just front of your mind. That's okay, and that's understandable. It's just, it kind of is what it is on that.
Yeah, I think I think so. Yeah.
That was not satisfactory, was it? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I wish I had a good answer to the two animals. If an animal kills another animal, I don't see the relevance, but I understand what you're saying. I mean, if we had two mentally challenged people that can't be held responsible, I mean, should we? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? Like, I don't know. I'm just rambling.
No. Actually, I'm morally.
That's a good rebuttal. My rebuttal to the rebuttal is honestly, mine is pretty simple. And if you can debunk this one, I will have nothing to fall back on. Like this is this is the thing. Like when people call in and we ask, what is the biggest reason you have to believe this thing? This is mine. Okay. To my knowledge, other species, other groups of animals, they might kill each other in battle or maybe even kill some offspring for fun or by accident or whatever. We do not hunt each other for food. So cows don't hunt each other to eat. Coyotes don't hunt each other to eat. They hunt other kinds of animals. So if I am going to say that humans are just one species, one group of animal, the reason that there's a difference between two animals and somebody who we would deem, maybe not wholly there or, mentally disabled, like the difference is they are part of our species and we do not eat our species for pure procreation reasons.
Sure.
That's mine. If it's full of holes, let me know. Either on air or off.
We are going to have long discussions.
Ooh,
yeah.
Good. Okay.
Well, about it.
I might be a vegan next time we call in.
No, I disagree, but I have so many nitpicks that are just not worth bringing up because that just is going to make me sound terrible.
Justin, I'm curious what your thoughts are with that.
Yeah.
It all boils down to one simple question from, I've heard it phrased from Cosmic Skeptic, where he says, are our taste buds worth more than a life? And I can't refute it. And you could say, well, it's not just your taste, it's protein or it's your nutrition or it's this and it's that. And there's tons of arguments that would say that it's actually healthier if you do it right. and it's better for the planet. You know, there's a lot of science that says that the amount of agriculture that we're having to do just to feed the animals that we're raising to kill and eat, that is killing the planet on its own, and that if we use the same land to grow crops to feed humans, that we could feed the world for the next 10 years.
Honestly, that is a great point. Like, if we could get everybody on board with that, absolutely, I'd buy in.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. That's where it becomes moral it has nothing to do with whether or not you think animals are lesser than us. If you look at the science on what it's doing to the planet, we might just be killing ourselves. I mean, I say might because I'm not an expert, but I'm just throwing that out there, guys.
So Justin, given the example you just gave, could I just respond and say, well, it sounds like, you know, our need to save the planet. Let's just look at distribution of food, because there's enough food to feed at least most of us. I don't know about all of us, I'm pretty sure, but most food goes to waste, and we're not able to adequately transport it. We don't have the infrastructure to move that food. So I would view that as very immoral, given the argument that you're giving. And I would turn my attention to, you know, well, how come you're focusing on the animals part when I think the most bang for your buck is going to be focused, if that's the argument you're giving, you know, about saving the planet, then I would say that you're going to get more bang for your buck if you spend that time trying to build up the infrastructure to get the food that we have to the places that need it. So I because of that, I would take that whole bit and I'd put it on the shelf, because I don't think that impacts the animal eating part of the discussion about veganism. I think that that's an interesting aside, and I think that while that may, you know, be true, if we don't fix the infrastructure to get the food elsewhere, we're still going to have the same damn problem, you know, of people starving to death because they don't have, you know, adequate nutrition. So I would put that on the shelf. As far as the eating animals part, number one, I'm not okay with cannibalism in my society. Totes not. In fact, we have laws against it.
Yeah. So,
no, we do treat animals still differently than we treat humans. And it's not just about eating each other, but it's or killing each other. But that there are lots of behaviors that animals, you know, have that are expected. You know, animals do. There are plenty of reasons why animals would eat their own kind. But even if we just look at how they treat each other, you know, we view them differently. Why do we do that? That's a question that I want to investigate and go, okay, is that justified?
Why did white people view black people differently back in the 60s?
Okay, you're talking about the same species, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they dehumanized them.
What's the difference?
Yeah, so animals aren't humans, right? If you want to make the difference, then for that to be a good comparison, you're going to need to convince me that animals are humans. I view animals differently from humans.
Well, like you said earlier, maybe in a couple hundred years, if we're still here, we won't. Well,
probably.
You know, maybe they'll evolve. What if all animals started talking today? Would we still want to eat them?
I would run very, very far. I would hide under my bed.
No, but that has a lot to say about consciousness, right? If you know, how many animals have that capacity? How cute are they? How much do they look like us? The ones that look like us are more often fought over.
Well, that's why cats meow. They mimic babies crying. They have hacked our brains in order to get food from us.
Yeah.
It's a devious plot.
I think we need to tone the discussion to make sure that what we're making sure that we're not conflating rights with protections, that we're not.
Okay. Let's stick with just animals and between animals and humans then, and let me ask you this.
Okay, last one, and then we got to take another caller.
Dogs?
Well, we've got so many other callers, man. You're welcome to call back other times.
Absolutely.
But
That's
okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No,
No,
it's okay.
Go for it. So you wanted to ask about, am I okay with people eating dogs?
How you feel about people eating dogs? That's my last question.
I think that has societally been a thing in lots of places. I think that in the society we're in, like here in the United States, we keep them as pets. But I would not find myself morally repulsed by another culture eating dogs, because that would just be disgusting and imperialistic of me, to be honest. That would like, no. I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted you guys to have something to think about, and that's it.
Absolutely. This is going to spark some interesting conversations, and
It will.
I'm
and
open
for
to being
for anybody who out there who's
convinced.
going to clip this and say that he didn't defend veganism, well, that wasn't my intention. I'm not an expert. I just wanted to talk about it.
No,
Yeah.
dude, you did a
I
really
didn't
good job
come
of
on here to
engaging us.
earthling ed you guys and have all the right answers.
No,
This
and
was a really good
So-
conversation.
it really was. And hopefully, us being honest and forward and vulnerable at the same time, met you halfway, because I think this was a really great,
Yeah.
this was a
Yeah.
good conversation.
Good
I just
convo.
think at the end of the day, if we don't need to eat them, we just need to ask ourselves, then why do we still do it? That's all. I'll let you guys move
That's a
on.
good
Thank
point.
you.
Thank you so
Take care,
much,
man. Thank you for
Justin.
calling in. I like Justin.
Justin is a good conversationalist.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we've got time for 2 more.
Okay.
Can we go with Fran? Fran has been on the line for a while.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's get Fran on, and then I will do my movie magic over here.
All right. Fran, you are live with Eric and V. What would you like to talk about?
Well, yeah, first of all, congratulations on your new show. I'm really stoked for it. And then I was watching the Atheist Network group, and there was a talk between a theist and a non-theist.
Mm-hmm.
And I had mentioned, what you had mentioned, and I agree with, truth is that which comports to reality. The theist said that was circular, and so I'm a baby skeptic, and I've just been an atheist for 11 months now. What would be your response to that? Because I don't think it's circular.
Sure. So what's the context?
I can't remember too much. It was the context, as I mentioned that in chat, and during this convo, and it was picked up by the person who was hosting, and the theist just said, "Oh, well, that's circular," and so.
Yeah, I mean, so 2 things. First, the really sucky piece to that is the problem of induction. When it comes down really, really deep like that, you wind up getting to the laws of logic, and the laws of logic are identity, non-contradiction, and the excluded middle. And that is, a thing is what it is, isn't what it isn't, and can't be what it is and what it isn't at the same time.
Unless you're a rodentist.
Okay.
And so everything we understand and our reasoning and philosophy, and it's built upon those 3 pillars. And you ask, okay, well, how do you know that those pillars are true? You have to use them to prove them. It's circular. And we're stuck there. And it bites. Okay. But the only, it really does. It's called the problem of induction. And the interesting thing is, though, everyone is stuck there. Mm-hmm. Christians are just as stuck there as we are.
They just also tack a God onto it.
Yeah, because why is God the source of these things? Well, because God is what it is, isn't what it isn't, can't be what it is, and it isn't at the same time. It's just when you peel back those layers, you get right back to that problem of induction. And so there's a bit of circularity that we had a caller earlier, actually, who was talking, we were talking about the limits of skepticism.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually a really good point to kind of round back to. Check out Bertrand Russell. Bertrand Russell had a lot to say about this, and what they kind of talked about is there's a point where the rubber meets the road, right? We can sit here and we can wax philosophical in our armchairs all the way up until we actually need to make a decision about our lives. And if that philosophy has no bearing, no impact, and can't affect the world that we're in, how useful is it? We need to, at some point, make decisions moving forward. We can't just wax poetic about the universe without ever putting that into action. And a lot of people, put philosophy in this tiny little category and go, oh, well, philosophy is just, not something you have to talk about every day, so it doesn't really matter. No, philosophy is math. Philosophy is science. Philosophy is everything that we use to understand the world around us. It all has a core in philosophy. So understanding that there's that problem underpinning it is very, very important, because for someone to say, it's inherently circular, I think what they're doing is they're getting down to that problem of induction. And I know I gave you a lot of, I know I gave you a lot of language, but just to give you a little bit more, when we're talking about truth, people have different definitions for what they think is true. We go with that which comports with reality, but other people have a view that truth operates in webs and, is true given the context it has with everything else in that web. Other people look at truth and go, well, is it useful? If it's not useful, it's not true. That's the pragmatic definition of truth. And so there are lots of ways that we look at that. But ultimately, if you want to just take that down another step, we're still stuck with the problem of induction with all of them. We're just doing our best. So if somebody says that's circular, say, I would ask them, hey, how do you work around that? Because I'm pretty sure that yours is circular for the same kind of reason. We're kind of stuck on the same ground level here with the problem of induction. Do you think you figured it out?
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I'll definitely look into that. I'm 62 and I signed up to do a second bachelor's in philosophy.
Nice!
Starting in August. So
that's so
I'm
exciting.
just really stoked for this.
Good.
So I will look up Bertrand Russell and the induction thing.
Do. That's awesome.
Oh, Fran, you're my new hero.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. I know I didn't give you very much time to talk,
Honestly,
V.
I'm happy with you running with that one because I would have gone down a different route and I think it would have muddied the water. So,
Yeah.
Great job.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, seriously, great job. I learned quite a bit, and I have some stuff some work to do. So I'm thrilled with that. So thank you so much.
Hey,
Thank you.
Fran, if you want, call us back once you start getting into those philosophy classes. We would love to hear how things are going for you.
Yes, and
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Yay.
and don't think that we're monoliths in any way, that we're some kind of, we're not authorities. And to that end, people who are watching that are like, Eric is entirely wrong, please point that out in the comments because I want to grow too. And, we're not so egotistical to think that we don't have room to grow. So,
Yeah, true, but you've studied this a lot, so because of you and V studying this so much, I do respect where you're coming from, and so that's great. So thank you.
Thank
we
you,
appreciate
Fran.
it.
Thanks for calling in.
thank you.
Okay, have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If anything, if you're watching us and you're enjoying the topic and you're enjoying the subject, treat us as a springboard that you can use to learn moving forward. Treat us as that, that launching point. But don't orbit us the entire time. There's so much more to the world, and we're not going to get to all of it. Who are we talking to next?
Well, we've got one more person in the queue, so let's talk with Andrew. You can jump in while I do my movie magic.
Okay, sounds good. Andrew, you're live with Eric and V. What would you like to talk about?
Hi. I'm sorry. I was thinking about the previous caller.
No worries.
Whatever.
If you want to collect your thoughts for just a second, I can actually say we had a couple of callers that dropped off during the last call. We really want to talk to you. So please call again next week because you were, we love you. We saw you. Puck, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, Puck.
Call back next week.
What
Puck.
happened, man?
Yeah, and others in that. But anyway, Andrew, hopefully you've had a minute. What would you like to talk about?
Yeah. Since V was, I'm not sure if it was this week. And they had a tweet about learning to pronounce people's names, right? It's actually Andreu.
Oh, Andreu.
Andreu. Oh. Thank you for correcting us.
Yeah. And just so people know, there's a significant delay between us. So we're going to do our best to talk with each other. But if, it sounds like we're cutting each other off, totally promise we're happy. And we're just, it's just the limits of the technology.
Sure. So this is kind of the second part of a conversation I had with the calling show last week.
Yeah, I remember you.
And which was, which was about being non-binary and processing and more about how imposter syndrome plays with. Yeah, it's like.
Hey, Andrew.
What?
You have been waiting on the line for 46 minutes, and for some reason your audio is getting very robot-y.
What?
Can we get you to call in next week and see if we can get a cleaner line? Maybe we'll take you. We can take you earlier if you call at the beginning of the show. We can take you first. That way we can make sure that the line is clear because we're having trouble hearing you.
Yeah.
I feel so bad about that.
It was better before with the call screener, but if it's now worse.
Yeah,
it got weird and choppy.
Right.
Damn it! It's because we had you wait on the line for too long, Andrew. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
That's fine.
Call back next week. We'll take you early.
Next week, or jump in the Discord.
Yeah, we're gonna hop in the Discord after this.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take your call next week. Fingers crossed it works.
Definitely call early on, okay?
Sure.
Okay. I feel really bad about that, but what can we do?
I know, at that point, it's kind of like, I want to be able to answer the question correctly, and if I only hear every third word, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, we do want to move over to the Discord, though, so if you're watching and you want to join us in the Discord, say hi. Join us on Discord, tiny.cc/SG Discord. We would love to talk to you. In the meantime, let's see, merch store, flyer, somebody is getting a shirt because they posted the flyer. If you would love to follow suit, you can print out that flyer at tiny.cc/SG flyer.
Yeah, let's get you up here.
Or sorry, skepticgeneration.com/launch. What was I doing?
You were doing the hashtag.
I was doing the hashtag. Would you explain it? My brain's getting a little fuzzy.
Sure. So if you would like to follow suit and get part of a suit, then you can go to skepticgeneration.com/launch. You can download the flyer and print it out. Color, black and white, doesn't matter. Post it somewhere in your neighborhood, preferably somewhere funny or exciting. Churches would be fun. Yoga studios, maybe. Wherever you want to go with it. Take a picture of it.
Local crystal shop.
Put it on, post it to Twitter and tag us at Skeptic Show, and also use the hashtag SGFlyer. That's where you got that from.
Ah, there we go.
And every week we're going to pick our favorite and send you a shirt.
Thank you, V.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I can do many things at once. I press all of the buttons.
So, y'all, we're doing everything we can to make this as good as possible. We sincerely appreciate your patience. We were able to be on at the right time this week, and we're so proud of it.
Fixed the foam.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's not at all crooked, and we actually have the camera tilted sideways. That's not at all what happened. Everything is okay.
So if your eyes have been a little wonky this whole time, it's not you. Except it may be you. Go see a doctor.
Thank you all so much. This has been a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed this. We had some really intense conversations with some really good interlocutors.
Had some really awesome people on the line today.
I love it. So V and I are looking. We're going to be picking out a place. Our main goal is that we can find a place with a large room that we can set up a studio in. We're touring a place tomorrow. If you want to support us, it is entirely being supported by you and out of our own pockets. But we would really appreciate any kind of support. If you want to support us, go to Patreon. Actually, we have links right here. tiny.cc/donate to SG will get you to our Patreon. Every little bit helps. There's also an Amazon wish list where we're getting the gear together, and we're trying to build a computer so that we can get someone to produce it so that we can actually focus on calls the entire time. And then on top of that, I know that some people are just like, hey, I want to donate or I want to support you guys, but I don't like Patreon. There is one other way. I'm going to mention it. V and I are doing our best to start an LLC so that we can get, donations to Skeptic Generation. In the meantime, it's just our personal stuff. So any donations to us are going to go to that end.
Yeah.
So I think mine is paypal.me/Eric D. Murphy. And any donations there are going to go directly towards us trying to make this dream happen. And we would not be able to do it. We would not be able to dream this big if it wasn't for you. So thank you for following us. Thank you for sharing this, for liking the video, subscribing, and getting the word out there.
And thank you to our amazing crew that's been working behind the scenes, making all of the super professional call screening happen.
Yeah. We're going to hop over to the Discord. But until next week.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, come on.
If at first you don't succeed, skydiving isn't for you.
Oh, okay.